Welcome to Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make more money copy trading. I'm Gavin Macaulay, my name and username on eToro. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Today is a solo episode where we reflect on Gasper Sopi, Davide Marcotti, Anastasiia Argent, and the satisfying threesome of Jay, Rob, and Felix. We also look at how to identify black clouds in the distance, so you can avoid a disastrous PI raining on your parade. Here we go. Episode 27 of Copytraders Club, and as always with these solo ones, it is divided into 3 parts. Part 1, look back at the last 4 chats. Part 2, portfolio update. And Part 3, future-proofing your PI choices. So Part 1, a look back at the last 4 chats. First up, Gasper Sopi. Gasper seems to me like a PI with a really bright future. He's a calm, personable guy who seems to be very stable in his approach, which is actually quite flexible, although that sounds like a contradiction. One of the most interesting things about him, which we talked about, was that his approach mixes the standard seeking growth at a reasonable price stocks, but he's also a man with his finger on the pulse when it comes to meme stocks and high growth plays. If a PI can make solid returns from regular investing activity, but also time getting in on some of these crazy rocket ships while still managing the risk of the portfolio, that can be a real winning combination and be very much what copiers are looking for. Gasper's quite a contemplative guy, so it's fun and kind of reassuring to think of him making an investment in something like a GameStop and then quietly going down to the lake to meditate. We also talked about even when he made a lot of money from business, he's not the type to go and splash the cash on a sports car. There is a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, so I'm tempted to give Gasper the excessively long nickname, The Monk Who Didn't Buy a Ferrari in the first place. Next we have Davide Marcotti. A very different character is Davide. Doesn't lack self-belief and has very big plans for his future in eToro. If he keeps producing the results he has, then who would bet against him making it to the highest tier of PIs? Among the interesting things we discussed was the extent to which he draws in information from so many different sources, pools it all together, and has a network of people he debates and dissects ideas with before he settles on a decision to invest. Some PIs one can picture sitting in an attic somewhere with their spreadsheets all open, calculating and recalculating before coming to a solo investing decision. Not Davide. He gives his ideas a full airing and network testing, which is pretty interesting. I wouldn't be surprised to see Davide and Gasper's copier numbers grow considerably over the next year or so. Finally, we had a female guest in the form of Anastasiia, who's a copy trader and YouTuber. I enjoy her videos and they're well worth checking out and subscribing to. She's a very positive and smart person, so it was very interesting to hear her views on copy trading. Anyone who can buy and sell crypto with such good timing that they can then buy a house from the profits is deserving of respect. As for copy trading, she's on a journey of learning, like the rest of us, so she doesn't claim to be an expert. I was surprised she had not watched any of the videos from the Felix Felix YouTube channel. There's a reason that keeps coming up in these podcasts, and that is that I have learned so much from his videos that I wouldn't have via any other means. I think Anastasiia would learn a few things too, Knowledge is power, and the more we know, the more we can correct our flawed assumptions, and the better decisions we can make, and ultimately better results should follow. Also thrown into the mix in this busy month for the podcast was the first TotaleToro episode, featuring Jay Nemesis, Robert Merck, and the aforementioned Felix Felix. This was a roundtable chat covering a few of the issues of the day. Based on the positive feedback I've received on this episode, it looks like this type of 3-guest panel-style episode should become a regular feature. There were many highlights and takeaways from this episode. One was the debate over PIs adding funds and how the current system makes it such that PIs are promoting to would-be copiers the fact that they will not add funds as a virtue. It's a virtue from the copier's point of view because it avoids all the hassle of a PI constantly topping up and then the copier having to find and add funds themselves or go out of sync. One solution is that a PI can have another account and then copy themselves. They can add funds to this account and it counts towards their own invested amounts so they can rise through the PI ranks, but avoids inconveniencing copiers and also would not count towards the PI's assets under management, which is the basis for their salary. Why that is not possible today, I don't know. But this, or a solution that achieves the same thing, must surely be high on eToro's to-do list. It would achieve the twin goals for them of, number 1, not discouraging more money from entering the eToro system, and number 2, improving the copy trading experience by removing inconveniences. Jay also described my sense of humour as next-level dad jokes, which I take as a huge compliment. I don't think I've ever been described as next-level anything. I like it. Part 2, Portfolio Update. Not a great deal to say here about activity. I've been adding a little bit more crypto. I'm now up to about 30% of my eToro portfolio is in crypto, which I can imagine causes gasps of shock all around. How has performance been? Let's have a look. Well, we've just ended July with a 3.39% result, which is great. Most of that is thanks to crypto going up in the last few days of the month, really. But also some good price movement following positive earnings from a number of companies I'm invested in my copies. How did the PIs do? Smosa King had a July minus 1.77. Robert Merck had a July minus 2.37, Elite Vol minus 1.10, and Lizzie Apukaya minus 1.11. So all 4 of them are down. A lot of that has to do with the drop in Chinese stocks, of course. And thanks to my crypto, I managed to end the month positive ahead of all my PIs. That's quite interesting. Coming up in part 3, future-proofing your PI choices. Hope you're enjoying today's show. I'm sure you've subscribed already. If you are a successful copy trader, happy to share what you've learned, there's no need to have a public profile. Get in touch. The bigger the club, the better for you. So tell people on eToro about this show. Ask your PIs to come on. That way you will get to know them better. We build this club together. Part 3. Future-proofing your PI choices. 2 things have inspired this section. Number 1, researching a future guest who's a long-term copy trader and seeing what has become of 2/3 of his original 2017 PI lineup. And secondly, watching a video on the Felix Felix channel called My Top 20 eToro Popular Investors of 2019. Where are they now? Link in the show notes. Both of these have really piqued my interest in how to avoid disastrous PIs. If Warren Buffett's rule number 1 of investing is don't lose money, rule number 1 of copy trading should be don't pick a disastrous PI. Given the way a PI can blow up in the positive sense, if they are featured by eToro and basically thrust before the eyes of unsuspecting copy traders, it's quite possible that some undeserving PI could quickly rise up the ranks and have thousands of copiers. Then, of course, the wisdom of the crowd means others will pile in too, because they already have thousands of copiers. And thousands of people can't be wrong, can they? Answer, yes, they can. The wisdom of the crowd thinks that Michael McIntyre is a funny comedian. The wisdom of the crowd wants to watch reality TV shows with sexy morons all trying to shag each other, or trying not to shag each other. The wisdom of the crowd votes in politicians who are far from the best among us, and accepts existing political structures without question. The wisdom of the crowd believe what they see on the news, on TV, or social media, consider it their window on the world, and think they're informed. Most people are not terribly smart, let's be honest. Why would a big bunch of them be convincing? When you see how quickly hordes of people start copying someone immediately after they are featured on Editor's Choice, and then how quickly they abandon that PI after one red month, ask yourself if they really deserve to influence your decision making. Much like Buffett's simple rule, not picking a disastrous PI may be easier said than done. Mostly this is about PI honesty and character. Any whiff of a discrepancy between words and action. Any examples of a PI being economical with the truth. Any signs that they don't quite understand fully certain concepts of investing, or how copy trading on eToro works. I've come up with 7 points to help avoid picking a disastrous PI. I'm sure there are more, but here goes. Number 1. Don't have too many PIs. Maintain a very selective approach with limited spaces, so you cannot go adding willy-nilly and drop your standards. Number 2. Don't have only one PI. If you have only one and have strict criteria, the chance of picking a disaster is very low, but the consequences are considerably worse. Find a number of PIs that seems to you to be a good balance, keeping at an acceptable level both the risk and the consequences. Number 3. Avoid PIs who quote illegitimate lifetime or annualized returns. Every time you see that in someone's bio or pin post, check if they were outsized returns way at the start of their eToro career. If so, that pulls the rug from underneath that stat, most likely. Could have been that they were using tons of leverage, or they were all in on crypto for the massive sum of $100. Number 4. Beware the PI who adds funds in a losing month. And really beware the PI adding funds generally. There are many issues with that, as I'm sure you know. Number 5. KYPI. Know your PI. Personally, I couldn't invest in a silent actor like Libor Vasa. I'm quite disappointed that to date, Elite Vol's promised YouTube videos have yet to begin. Levi, otherwise known as Lizia Pukaya, has also touted a forthcoming YouTube channel, although his might have to wait until he's living a more settled life than is currently the case, since he is currently traveling around Mexico. One of the great things about a PI who makes YouTube videos is that they repeat over and over again what they believe in, what their methods are, how they will react to given situations. These act not just as confirmations to the copier that there is no change, but also, I think, as affirmations by the PI that this is what they stand for, and it is who they are as a popular investor. Number 6, trust your instinct. If you feel there's something not quite right about a PI, then don't copy them. There's a very prominent PI whose profile pic instantly gave me the creeps, and is the first thing I didn't like about him. He has also since fallen foul of at least one other rule here, possibly multiple, and I know I won't be looking into him further. Number 7, be on the ball. Stay on top of your PI's activity to some extent. Again, this is easier with a smaller number of them. If they do start to breach one or more of these rules, then give serious thought to getting out before the damage becomes too great. A sudden and fundamental change of strategy, for example, can go very quickly wrong. Check out the stats page of the PI Wayne Wes. So, don't be asleep at the wheel. Kipling was wise to counsel that we should meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. But keeping impostors out of our copy portfolio will go a long way to helping us avoid disaster and ultimately help us on the path to copy trading triumph. That's all from me. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything you hear in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just generic chit-chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., and so forth.